Hello, it's good to see everyone or hear everyone anyway, for you to be here. I'm Doug, and I'm sitting in for Corey today for the library meditation. And have a few comments about meditation and what this is about. I heard a talk recently that suggested there were three qualities that were very useful if you're going to pursue uh, the benefits of meditation. One quality is your presence, and this is sort of an obvious one. Meditation is all about being here in the current moment, in this body, in this mind, observing what's going on, not lost in the past and what might have been and should have been, or lost in the future. We never know what the future is bringing, and we spend an inordinate amount of time thinking about that. And neither of those are helpful for what we're doing in meditation. There are some things we need to look at that are much closer at hand. And so that's what we'll focus on. What's happening in my body? What's happening in my mind right now? The second quality that's useful is curiosity. The mind is an interesting animal. And in meditation, we are making ourselves more familiar with this strange creature that is always around, but that sometimes we don't pay the right sort of attention to. Usually when we're working with the mind, we have some goal that we're trying to achieve. We want our mind to figure something out, to use it as a tool to make something work for us, or maybe it's just causing us problems and we'd like for it to to quiet down a little and not be so disruptive. But in meditation, where we neither, we don't have a goal for the mind, and we're going to allow the mind, sort of to do whatever it does. And so, there's an old saying that meditation is training the mind. And of course, when you're training anything, you have to pay attention to sort of what it's doing and start from where it's at and work with it. And the other thing about meditation and curiosity is that we're not here to pass judgment on anything that happens in meditation. We spend a lot of our day passing judgment on things. But what happens is when we judge the things that we observe or that we notice in our body and our mind, we're either pulling them closer and saying, I want more of that, or we're pushing them away, saying, no, I feel a pain and that's not right, or I have this thought that I don't like and I want to quit thinking it. And so we're always passing positive and negative judgments on the experiences that we have. And that interferes with our ability to see clearly, to see what's really going on. And so, at least for the period of meditation, a judgment-free zone is very helpful. And that sort of leads to the third quality that's very useful in meditation, and that's kindness. Meditation, and what I always tell people when I'm teaching them how to meditate, is meditation should not be grim. Sometimes people have this idea that, well, here's this other task, this new task, and I have to do it well, and I need to not fail, and I'm not very good at these things, and I've got to get it right. And so you sort of apply this pressure to yourself to somehow make your meditation be right. And that's not quite the right spirit people often find. If you treat yourself with kindness, just it's back to the training an animal metaphor. The mind can be much more responsive. The goal in meditation is to make the mind into an ally and not so much an opponent as it sometimes we can feel it to be. And so treating whatever happens in your body and your mind with kindness and acceptance helps you to see and understand more clearly what all's going on in there. So presence, curiosity, and kindness. So I suppose, I don't know if there's ever, I guess the question and answer in chat is afterwards, so we'll move on. I don't know if this happens at all these meditations, but I'll quickly kind of go through the process. Most of the instructions I ever give on meditation are just what to do with the body. Telling people what to do with their mind is a much trickier business. But just so that we have the right physical stance to sort of support us. If you're sitting in a chair, I'd say make sure that you're sort of centered where you're at. If you're in a chair, you can put your feet on the floor, with your feet, shoulder width or so apart. If you're sitting down, you want to be sitting so that you're stable, hopefully have your seat up on a cushion. We always recommend that helps you be sort of stabilizes the body. Your arms, you can just place on top of your thighs, palms down. We're not doing anything in particular with our hands. They just need to be parked somewhere out of the way. The most important thing about meditation is that we want a good posture. Spine should be straight, not at attention necessarily, but perky. Good posture. You can imagine having a book on your head, or maybe a string sort of pulling up on the crown of your head so that you stretch up a little bit. Sort of open front, unguarded. And now, as far as our head and our eyes, you can sort of look down in front of you. You can leave your eyes open, but we're not really looking at anything in particular. It's just sort of a soft focus. We just sort of want to park our eyes somewhere. And if you find yourself getting sleepy, you can open your eyes a little more, and take a deep breath. You can narrow the eyes and shut a little more of the world out. And also notice your jaw. Sometimes we store tension in our jaw. Just sort of relax that, if it will. And so here we are in position. A couple of other things I always like to mention to people. I said before that kindness is a helpful part of meditation. And there's an old suggestion that if you can put a slight smile on your face when you begin to meditate, sometimes it feels a little fake when you start, but sometimes by the end of the meditation, that smile feels a little more genuine. It just sort of sets the right tone, I suppose. And the other is, if your mind is particularly jumpy, you can count your breaths just to give the mind a little something to keep it occupied as you settle down. Count the in-breath as 1, the out-breath is 1. In-breath is 2, out-breath is 2. When you get to 10, you can start over with 1. If you lose your place, start over with 1. And you can do that until the mind is more settled and you can just be with our usual object of meditation, just observing the breath. We gently place our attention on the breath as we breathe in and out. Just observe the body breathing. And that's what we do. So I have an electronic bell, which will start. We'll sit for 30 minutes. And I'll mention a few things along the way, but not much. It'll be mostly quiet. So let's begin. If you find that your thoughts have distracted you a little bit and you've wandered away from your meditation, just gently return your attention to the breath. And you might want to put a little attention on the body. Sometimes when people meditate, they sort of think it's from the neck up, but it's very helpful to notice what's going on in the body as you meditate. In fact, you could even sort of gently and slowly sweep down through the body and just kind of check in to see what each part is feeling like. If you place your attention on your feet and your lower legs, is there tension? Is there any sensations of numbness or tingling, pressure of your feet on the floor, perhaps? We can just walk through and placing the attention on one part after the other, just check in. Legs, feel the pressure of where you're sitting. And then feel your back. We're holding ourselves upright, so there'll be some tension in the back, stomach area. What does that feel like? Through the chest. Any sensations? Check in with the arms and the hands. What are they touching? Move up to the neck and the head. Is there any tension in the shoulders? Is there tension in the forehead, jaw? We don't have to fix everything. We're just noticing. You spend a lot of time paying attention to the body. You discover that it's really a river of constant sensation. There's always feelings coursing through the body. These are useful to focus on as we're sitting with the breath and meditating. Now, as we've been sitting, noticing what's happening in the body for a while, we can expand our awareness a little bit and include mental events that have been happening. Ever since our meditation started, there have probably been a few, maybe just a few, maybe lots of thoughts that have floated through the mind, maybe about how this meditation session is going, maybe about earlier in the day, maybe events far in the past, or about what's coming up later in the day or things well into the future. And there might be feelings that were associated with these thoughts, good and bad and indifferent. This is all mental weather that our meditative, quiet mind can observe coming and going. As we just stay here in the present, feeling the sensations of the body, noticing thoughts that arise and pass. Now, in a few minutes, our meditation will come to a close. Been observing the sensations in the body, thoughts and feelings that arise in the mind. Now, perhaps we can open our awareness a little bit wider and see something more subtle. See if we can identify the background mood of the mind. The mind has its moods that color what we think. We might be calm. We might be so calm that we're sleepy. Or perhaps the mind is tense and it's generating tense sorts of thoughts. The mind can be distracted, sort of jumping all over the place or causing jumpy thoughts. These can arise from the mood that the mind is in. Or perhaps the mind is happy and content today. Or perhaps things have been going awry and the mind has sort of an angry mood that easily generates angry thoughts. So if we can notice the mood of the mind, that often explains how our internal day has been going. So the last few minutes, we'll include that in our curious observation. All right. Hopefully you could hear my electronic chime there. Welcome back. So, what do we want our post-meditation activity to be today? Check in with everybody.
That would be fine.
Have any comments on meditation? How it is, how it's been? That would work.
I find it very peaceful, and I tend to get sleepy, and I guess it's because when I'm conscious, at work, even at home, I'm just going, so that when I do finally slow down enough to sit and relax my mind, I often get sleepy.
Right, right. Yeah. I suppose you probably heard the list of some of the things that you can do to work with that. But
Yes.
for those who may hear this later, sometimes there are certain periods of the day that people find work a lot better for them for meditation. You can meditate in the morning. Sometimes there's more energy, or it's just opening the eyes and taking a deep breath can help brighten the mind a little bit in the middle of a meditation session. Or even just taking a moment to just imagine a bright landscape. We can have internal sunlight, even if it's a little dim in the room where we're in. But that'll work. Mark, hopefully you're doing well today. But you don't have to tune in if you don't want to. All right. So during the meditation, I talked about sensations in the body, thoughts and feelings that arise in the mind, and then the mood of the mind. This is part of an old list of things that you can be mindful of. And even throughout your day, you can be mindful of what's going on with the body, how's it feeling, what's happening with my mind, do I have persistent thoughts, that are happening, and what's the mood? What's the mood barometer today? Calm, agitated, focused, distracted. And noticing those throughout the day help us to learn to pay more attention, to tune in better. So the more we can see what's going on with our mind, the less mystery there is about why our mind does the things that it does, and the better we're able to work with it sort of as a partner instead of as a cantankerous mule that we're sometimes trying to drag along with us. But anyway.
And Doug, would you mind sharing with us today, for those who are interested, maybe some other meditation opportunities that are available here in the Little Rock area?
Well, the ones that I know about happen over at the Ecumenical Buddhist Society, and they have a Facebook page, EBSLR, and now I have to think of what the schedule is. There is a schedule on the Facebook page and on the Ecumenical Buddhist Society website. There are usually lunchtime meditations, some evening meditations. Sometimes it's nice to check in and just meditate with other people, even if right now it's generally virtually. But there's probably more meditation sessions going on that I don't know about. Would you like to add any to that list?
One that I know of that Compassion Works for All has been doing on the Sunday afternoons in May. So they did the 2nd and the 9th, and then I guess that would also include 16th, 24th, and possibly the 30th. They are doing meditations at Murray Park. And I know Compassion Works for All has that on their website and on their Facebook page, I think,
Right.
yes.
I'm glad you mentioned that. That's one I should have thought of, but this is a new and interesting thing that they're doing. And so we'll see how that goes. So yeah, some outside meditation. I think there is a pavilion in case it's too sunny or weather's a little difficult. Very good.